Hey everybody, this is Rydo, and we are back to another recording of Opus Magnum. So, I don't know if I mentioned it, I think I mentioned it in the last recording, but I've moved furniture around. I'm in a different recliner chair now instead of an office chair, which potentially creates just a whole new era for my YouTube channel and my content, in which I'm potentially being a little bit more laid back and a little bit more comfortable. Um, Hopefully, that doesn't make me sound too laid back or even more laid back. Because, yeah, very rarely do people want to listen to somebody who is at a like 45-degree incline, or and like the oxygen out of your lungs does not come out quite as well as sitting up in what they say is proper posture. We should just jump into this now while I'm rambling. But on the other hand, particularly when playing a game like Opus Magnum, there is this potential where, with more comfort, I can play more uh, video games per day and make more episodes, which I think some people would argue is probably a bad thing for my YouTube channel, which is always just releasing content. But not a bad thing from my perspective. Like, my first goal for my YouTube channel has to be that I want to play video games and criticize more games. If I don't want to do more of what I want to do, um, then I'm kind of no longer at that point theoretically interested in running the YouTube channel at all. Of course, there is such a thing as too much, uh, but maybe I will start making a few more recordings per day. Particularly in a game like this, it's easy to turn my brain to mush and then get distracted and not come back for another 24 hours after one or two recordings. Alright, the story says, are you all nervous about going through with the plan? Perhaps a little. I guess it was, are you at all nervous? Perhaps a little, but I can only trust our abilities. Why are you nervous? I keep asking myself if we've missed something. We've been over it many times. It's as sound as anything I've designed. Oh, Anataeus. Alchemy itself is the science, but alchemy's effects on the worlds are like anything else, impossible to predict. I don't know about that. Some things are imminently predictable, and responses like that one are surely one of them. Okay. So we are making a curious lipstick, and way too late in the game, we are being given a trash can. The glyph of disposal removes unneeded atoms from the board. Where disposed atoms go is poorly understood and a matter of some debate among theorists. See, and this would be a violation of the conservation of mass in the universe, or at this point, I'm not sure if science even really holds to that mass itself has to be conserved as much as just energy has to be conserved, and there might very well be a way to remove some mass in the universe and convert it into energy for a zero-sum total. But maybe not. Maybe I'm speaking more science fiction than science fact. In alchemy, of course, alchemy is just magic, so having a magic thing that gets rid of something is not really a problem. What is a slight problem here is the fact that this is taking up a full 7 squares, which, like a full hexagon grid here, when really you would have just wanted one small thing to do it. And inherently, unless they make me get rid of a lot of extra stuff, there's going to rarely be a case where you couldn't simply have something like this. that would just pick up an excess molecule that you don't need and spin it, spin it, spin it, spin it, spin it. And that would get rid of 6 extra molecules and just hold on to them. And in that case, you're not even... Where's this glyph? This seems to be like the first puzzle also where we've had everything available to us, which does make it feel like we're right on the verge of getting to a final chapter that lets us do the same thing. Lets us do every puzzle with everything, which it would be somewhat irritating if they tried to make us do every single previous puzzle with all the mechanics now unlocked, when the better system would have been simply to introduce this once you beat this level, then you could go back to previous levels and use this mechanism instead of representing it as potentially a long scroll bar thing, which I suspect that's not what's really going to happen. So let's start with the end here. We have exactly 2 salt reagents, which I don't think you particularly have to use. We can put this into position here to start with. And then we have Berlo's wheel, which seems like you pretty much at that point don't really need anything. Oh no, you have to use the glyph of duplication, don't you? So I was thinking Berlo's wheel here could just let go of the components, but I guess it can't. So salt atom into what we're looking for. How does this work? I'm gonna have to remind myself just how this works. Like, I know I've taken some decent amounts of breaks here, but I can't help but really blame the game itself for not having me use an item that often enough. Right, well, let's put that over that and then see if that... Okay. And now see how that works. Okay. What happens if you do this? You can't change that one. Alright, good to know. Which also probably means there would never really be a point where this would work better. It also probably means that something like that doesn't do anything. But for laughs, let's test it anyways. We'll grab this one. And this will give us mores, and then we'll get vitae, and it'll be the vitae that we need to get rid of. So we need to make a whole chain of mores. There's, particularly at this lower resolution, just no way this is going to be manageable. This is going to be insane. Okay. So you can't really double up here. Okay. Let's deal with this one first. So we're going to need a component that can probably run both ways. And one of them is going to have to give you fire, and one of them is going to have to give you air, unless we're just going to swap some things around and just be efficient about this. And for some somewhat weird reason, I don't actually want to be that efficient with this. I do want to kind of just write the code in a fairly inefficient way. And let's see, if we're gonna have to pick this one up, then we would have to probably swing. Yeah. That would be probably the best way to do it. You could maybe save yourself a little bit of space and do it that way. Just stick that there. We're not even getting to the pattern here yet, because the pattern's the part of this that's going to go fairly crazy. You could get the timing certainly right on this and pick this all up and then try and merge this whole thing this way, but I actually don't think that's the real solution, because if you were to build this around here using just like a glyph of bonding under this and just having this spin, 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 it's now stuck at that point around this part. So if we had retractable versions of these arms, that would work, because then you could potentially have something like this where you grabbed it and you could do something like this, but even at that really wouldn't work. Or if you could have a track go over the solution tiles in particular, so that you could move this from like this position here over to this position here, back and forth, that would work. Let's see. As far as that, and then that, you could get your circular spot there, and then you could make this part here match here. Then you could have this spot here match there, and then this spot here match there, like that. So if you are just throwing all concern of saving space out the window, this would be your layout. But in actuality, it's just not manageable. So we're gonna have to build this build smaller, just because I can't turn the resolution high enough to justify that. Alright. Is there this final solution spot? I think is going to affect a lot of things. Oh man, if there was just a way to reverse this so that the green was here and the red was there. Because it's gonna cross. I think no matter how I spin it, because I can't flip it, it's only a matter of spinning. You could do something like that. Take up fairly little as far as space is concerned. I think at a certain level, this, and this are going to be used up. And it's kind of even pointless to put a mark under them. This would have to be an extension arm to reach here. Which probably means something different should happen. Let's see. Could we possibly squeeze everything into place like that? Then that would allow me to do something closer to that. So if we're gonna get there, we have to reach that, so is there a better system here? I have one here, and it can grab here, and then I can also do this. Okay. And then if I had one here, and it could grab here, grab this, grab potentially this. Seems like that would work. The problem, certainly with a lot of this, is where is this all leading to as the next step? Because it does kind of feel like you are just going to actively attempt at a certain points to collect all this material and then hand it off to a whole nother builder. This could save you some space, but then you could never put the solution there, could you? So I don't think there's any way of any savings there. And if you had it on a track and you moved it around, that would be weird also. You could possibly save some money by having this on a track and have it move around. Okay. Is there seriously just no way this isn't going to turn into a nightmare scenario where you're going to have to build the entire shape? I feel like you're going to have to build the entire shape. And you're going to have to write what is insane levels of code to do that. This can get you the Moors, and this can get you the green. This can add the salt, and it can't add the red, which I think at a certain point we should just simplify that then and get rid of that component completely. Get rid of that component completely. And maybe just straight up get rid of that component. It would not be particularly efficient to convert something like this to salt. Or from salt into fires to then turn it back into fires. And I think for your level of efficiency, you would want to build this part. Sorry, I'm yawning already. I think you'd want to build this part in parallel to building this part, but for ease of understanding, I think you're going to end up building this part first. Like all that's down here. Okay, so let's just put some code in this. So how would we want to do this first? Let's start with this piece here, and then we'll try and keep this piece down so it mostly overhangs down this way to start with. So in that case we will start with this, and that will have number one rotate the least amount of times. So pick up, rotate, reset, pick up, rotate 1, 2, 3, I think 4 times, and then reset. Let's just test that. Nope, not 4 but 5 times, and then pick up it's not a reset though, it's pivot then reset, then pick up 5 times reset, which if you're doing anything 5 times in a row, you've probably made a mistake, and arguably I should consider moving this back down here, putting this piece here, since this is going to constantly push things downward. But I could also see a scenario where that might make the code a little bit better just because of better placement, but then you'd struggle to have to be really careful to not have it crash into this Van Berlo wheel. Maybe you have to pivot and then turn. You do, but it is 2 pivots, not 1. Nope, we run into a problem. You absolutely can't do it this way. So we have to try it this way. But I think also you kind of can't do it that way either. This is going to get really crazy because I'm fairly certain we need something that can extend, because I'm fairly certain we're going to end up having to do something along this line where you're grabbing things and dropping them and manipulating things, because I just can't really see a scenario where this isn't going to constantly try and crash into other things as you're building it. So let's just change that to start with. And we'll stick that there. Yeah, we would need a salt piece here, and there isn't a scenario where the salt piece goes here. Also, at some point we need this component to be able to reach here, and short of being on a track, there's no way to actually accomplish that also. So I think it might be kind of just efficient to do something like this and be prepared to use that. How much do these cost, by the way? The disposal costs 0 gold. But then using an arm here costs 20 gold versus 30 gold. So it is cheaper to do this and take up more space. But I think you would literally save 1 space if you just had something here picking up each extra item. So this has to be here. If it's here, Hmm. If we grabbed one here, and then went this way, and then did this way, and then did this way, so that the miner was here. Is there a way to then potentially pick this up and get it back over here? Yeah. Because now you're swinging this way, and then this one could swing this way, extend, and then, but then you can't get back that way. Well, you can, maybe, if you came back here after picking this up, brought it over here, swung it, turned it into a fire, brought it this way. How could we get it up? No, you can't go forward then, because it would crash. Would this solve everything? Take this, go this way. If you're from this point, swing back around. Then you could go forward, which would use that, but then swing back to this point. And arguably, maybe you don't even need that much if you just have the track here. You may not even need the glyph. Of course, this center part's going to be used, this center part's going to be used, this center part's probably going to be touched once we get to those more complicated problems. Okay. Let's see if that made the code less complicated now. So you take it, then you're going to rotate one to get here, one to get here, and one to get here, and then another one at that point would be over this point, and then you will plus and reset. So that's not simpler, but the next step, you take one, rotate twice, so 1 2, go plus I don't know if any of this is kind of at the right angle, because yeah, you go here, you've plussed, then that would just be rotate again, and that would just hit it. Otherwise, I'm gonna have to rotate a whole bunch more. Whereas maybe I just need to extend. And push. Build off of that concept. I again wish there was a better system here. I think I'm in the wrong place. Again. Let's see. This, pick up, extend, reset. Doesn't that look like that's a good beginning for some code? Instead of the nightmare mess that so much of this other code is. Okay. And since we have an extendable arm, this extend swings when push it. But actually that could work fairly well. Let's start with that, yeah. Don't extend, reset. Then grab, extend, rotate, and then we just need to pivot 3 times, probably not even 3 times, just maybe 2 times, and we'll see what happens at that point. And then we will go ahead and just grab and then pivot, rotate. And then the next part of this would be, well, it's going to start to get a little weird, as if it's not weird already. Just step into this. Put that there. That gave us a green on accident. Pivot that to that point, which is right. The whole thing is rotated a little bit differently, but that is the beginning of that. And so then the question would be, what is the next building step there? It would probably be to try and pivot it one way this way so that there's just this one square gap in the next connection, but we need the green to be able to go here on that one square gap. So I actually think you probably want to go minus and then try and pivot it twice, maybe even rotate it and then pivot it twice. Let's first of all get rid of this code, which side by side that code was longer. So instead of just resetting, I'm going to go minus, I'm going to rotate, and I am going to pivot twice and then reset. And yeah, this code is just going to get insane. There's no way around this. What in the world? Do we literally have to spin this just so it doesn't collide? I think we may. I think we may have to just put in ridiculous false spins every time this tries to rotate. Which in this case wouldn't really even matter too much, but it is annoying to say the least, because it's not even a false spin in that case, because it brings you to where you needed to be anyways later in the next step. So there's an insane level of efficiency here. Okay. The thing I would want to see happen here is we would need this to either be backwards. Is that right? Like, if this was instead pointing this way, and it was on top of this. Yeah, it needs to be backwards. Can we figure out how to do that? I'm guessing it's changing these two pivots like that. We need it. We need it to work. It's what we needed to do. Should we start over here and finish with this part? Probably. There would be probably better logic to that. I don't want to lose this code, but yeah, I kind of don't see any way around it. Let's see, can we grab all of this code potentially and just drag it as far as possible to that spot? And we will write different code. This extend apparently immediately that's going to cause problems with this, so we shouldn't even bother to try and fix that yet. Extend, rotate, I guess retract, and then reset. Because you're pretty much going to have to do similar code regardless. This extend, rotate, and if I retract at that point it doesn't work, so I think you want to pivot and then retract and reset. And for some reason that also undid our problem with the code. I guess if it just resets back to where it was. Pick it one more up, extend, and then rotate. And then I think kind of at that point you have a weird pivot you're going to have to do and a weird rotate you're going to have to do, and I'm not sure you can actually pull it all off, so we'll just reset there. Let's just see if that works for us with the extra caveat that we're going to have to basically put code here every time it rotates, here and here, so that the Van Berlo wheel is out of the way so you don't collide with it. Yeah. So from this point, it doesn't work. We're going to have to let go. We're going to have to go minus on the track and then plus again, which then gets us into the right place. So it's not that big of a deal. It's just instead of this, you put a let go, and then minus grab plus reset. Which means also this efficiency here won't actually help you too much. I guess one question to ask here is, if I was to get rid of this code and have this spin the other way, would that work for us? Nope. It's absolutely got to go the other direction. Just go ahead and put the code there. I think there's probably a pivot we need to do as the next step there. Yep. There's a pivot here we have to add. But it seems like some of this code might very well work and be reusable, and so we won't have to rewrite the code again. Alright, now we've run into another problem though. It's not pivoted enough. We need 2 pivots. And I suspect with the 2 pivots, that means it's going to crash into the arm. Well, no, it doesn't crash into the arm. We just need this one to pivot the other way. Let's see if that fixed that. Well, the last bit of code there was wrong. But the grab, swing, and go negative should be instead grab, swing, well, yeah, there's kind of no way we're going to get this upside down. So it almost feels like we should make this part first. You know what we can do though? Instead, when this rotates, the spin, you should just be at a salt at that point anyways. So it should just be able to potentially grab, extend, then rotate, and at that point I think extend and reset is the beginnings of what we want. This definitely feels like a puzzle that's going to have no level of efficiency at all. It is just going to be a total nightmare scenario. And so if I was trying to reduce the amount of cycles, I have really no idea how you do that. And I'm trying to basically focus on saving area and cost here. I don't think that's what I meant to do. I think I meant to retract. That'd make more sense. Yeah. And I need to quit forgetting that part of the code. This once again just feels odd. We've got the code now. That's the beginning of a code. Now it would just all be down to getting the solution, which also at that level is this very possibly where it all is going to end up. Yeah, if you were really running a factory, I can't imagine a scenario where you aren't just going to try to have a assembly square, an assembly place, where you would have a bunch of arms just assembling everything at once, versus well, what I've seen in circuitries is definitely you have a pick and place machine, is what they're called, and they are always rectangular grids, and it will pick up many different components that are on little like film strip style pieces of plastic. So you'll buy, say, 1,000 resistors of a specific ohm rated, a specific resistance, and they'll be on the film strip, and the pick and place machine will pick up that resistor from a ejector that feeds that film strip tape forward every time you pick up one. It'll take it to a camera to specifically take a picture of the orientation of the resistor, make sure it's got it in the right place using a vacuum, and then it will place it specifically at I'm saying specifically too often here. It'll place it at an XY coordinate or multiple XY coordinates for that part. It'll do all of that, and after all the components have been placed, it'll move the circuit boards, or the circuit board, it's usually a collection of circuit boards that haven't been cut or broken apart yet, to a oven that would then bake the solder onto it, or no, it would actually take it to a reflow oven that would flow solder actually on top of the entirety of the circuit board, and only the components which have copper feet and the pads on the circuit board that are exposed that have copper actually make a connection on the solder, and everywhere else the solder just flows off again and gets used in the next flowing. So yeah, you would never use arms like this. This would make a lot more sense to me as a game if I was using a pick and place machine and it was telling me at the bottom here are all your reagents, and there is a floating arm above it that can move anywhere on the grid, XY, and you can pick it up and place it down. That might be a little bit of a complicated concept to understand, that there is basically a crane game arm floating above everything, but it would make a lot more sense than the spinning action, because there's just not a spinning action that happens that I've ever seen in a factory. Not for building most things. I can't really think of too many things that would spin. Anyways, we've written all this code, and it's really just the beginning now, because now we need to bring 4 into this, and 4 could have at pretty much any point, but we might as well keep the code somewhat clean. 4 could have picked up 1. In fact, we're not even going to really wait on 4, so we might as well just put the code here like this. 4, and then if these are mirrored quite the right way, 2 would rotate that way, and 4 would rotate this way. And I want to just leave it at that to see, to answer a question. Right, so this one and this one are touched also, and more than likely this one's touched too. More than likely that one's touched also. This went the wrong way. I wish you could drag components and make changes as it's going. The game is really slowing me down by making me watch elements. Alright, well that answered the question I was asking myself, which is, do you have to actually let go of the components? And the answer to that is yes. So reset there. You go that way. Let go. Grab 1. So it should be here. And then the question starts to happen. Oh, I just hate this. I hate this ridiculous amount of extra work that's going to have to happen here. So much to the extent that it almost certainly is, just for your sanity's sake alone, worth it to try and build a ring somewhere in this region and connect it later. But I want to give it the college try. Okay. So this wouldn't be a rotate so much as this would be a minus, and then a pick up, and then rotate that way, and then yeah, I almost wonder if you would have to pick it up, come here, try and get it to swing over here, and then swing over here, just in an effort to stop it from crashing, because I just think there's gonna be something here otherwise. Let's just make the stupid assumption that there isn't going to be anything there. Pick it up, and then rotate, rotate, rotate. The real problem here that is going to be fairly apparent is that if you wanted to save money, you would get rid of this and have this, put both pieces of salt here. Okay. So from that position, we didn't have it in the right position. Is that because we extended, but didn't extend enough? Or is it because we needed to pivot more? I highly suspect that this extension won't do anything. It's just so much code now that you might as well just take a 2-minute break in between each time you hit play. Yeah, that did nothing. We need the salt piece to be a little to the left, which means this needs to rotate one more time that way. And almost certainly this rotation is going to crash into something. Like, you're going to have to just walk on eggshells. Yeah, rotate that the wrong direction. Maybe at that point, I could have put it in the right place. That probably would work better than what I was thinking of doing, which was to rotate it that direction. Yeah, that won't work. That's what I thought. Of course, if I was to instead move this like over here, immediate collision, I know, but if I was just to move that there, I might be able to get it to work without having to make much more of a change. Also, then all of the extra rotations up until this point don't have to be played like that. So I would say this is the better move, even though that didn't solve the problem. Alright, we'll do it the other way then. Rotate, let go, minus, grab, rotate, reset. Didn't quite get that right. Should probably been a minus and then a retract. It kind of seems like it needs to be 2 retracts, then grab. transfer, then that goes the other direction. It's just taking up so much space too. We haven't even used the disposal item. Alright. Rotate is not all that needs to happen. We then need to extend and then go plus, and I think extend again. Yeah, and there is really no concern at this point for saving space. Like up until this point the code is pretty good, but then once you take that spin, you're then touching a bunch of extra things here that I feel like you could struggle and find a way to avoid that by adding more cycles. Although this game has been weird about that also, where there have been several cases where I felt like we were really at the end of, like we were in a situation where we would have been required to do a lot more work to try and get a better score. And then when I actually beat the level, it basically said, no, you got the highest score already. There's no way to improve upon that, even though it felt like there would have been a way to improve upon that kind of code. Okay. So when you hit this point, I think that is the pivot point and the reset. It's probably pivot, extend, then reset. And then we will go ahead and put in the second bit of code, which for this guy I guess would just be a repeat. So we can do that pretty much anywhere without even caring about optimization at the moment. Again, if you're trying to save space and or money, you would get rid of this and just integrate it back into the code of the number 2. I don't think it's worth my time to do that. So anyways, pick this up, rotate, release, rotate, pick up, 1, 2, 3. And then I'm thinking you again would pivot and extend and reset. And once again, we can see how the code is unmanageable. That even 2 steps now, because you have no way of optimizing your code or having any kind of repetition loops or just like distinct coordinates. Alright. I don't know what happened there. What went wrong? Like that should have reset and built me another one, and it didn't. Why didn't it? Oh, because you can't build the thing without getting rid of the previous one. So after this occurs here, we need code that is pick up, rotate, and reset. And we might as well just put like a straight up reset there also. Just stick it there. So, yeah, without getting rid of things, you can't go forward. Is this in the right position? What happened here? Why was all of a sudden is this wrong? That's insanity. Right. Number 4 is code. I think we need 2 pivots. That would make more sense. What happened? Have we been doing this wrong the whole time and I haven't even been paying enough attention to see it? No, we lost the spin. That's what we did. We lost the code that I had. Right, well. We need, I think, a rotation here. And maybe a rotation here. Green, green, green. Red, salt, in place. And so we gotta figure out where we collided here. Was with the double pivot, which honestly, I don't think the double pivot is actually right. I think maybe we just need to go the other direction with it. Let's see. A ridiculously small amount of code is happening on one, so much so that I thought I could just get rid of all the code and that'd be fine. Yeah. Here's the problem. We need to now build this up. And we've done it, but we need to be extremely careful to build this up so that the last 2 connecting components are once again overlapping here. And so we may have to go kind of backwards and forwards, working like here, then here, then here, then here, then here, then here, versus what I normally want to do, which is to go all the way around, just because you have this long tail happening. Yeah, and I don't see a solution here that would work with like the unbinding item. Yeah. That pivot is wrong at this point. We need to pivot the other direction. And that is just going to put everything going the wrong way. We need it to go the other way. And I'm just doing a lot of testing here, kind of out of desperation more than actual desire to, or thought that it's actually going to work. Yeah. I can't ever turn this direction. I need more room. Which I think we can provide more room. And I think we will have to provide more room. So, 4. Doing this means this needs to be changed there. And then not really changing too much. Can we collide a gem like this? Yeah. Well, that might be an efficient way to save some more space by realizing that the reduction here happens. Seems like this one doesn't actually need to occur until later at this point. Is that accurate? So it would be at this point that you would want to pick it up and get rid of it. Okay, so yeah, with this grab and this swing, let's have this one swing out of the way and see if that works. I wish there was a way to make this smaller. Like it really does seem ridiculous that you have this giant glyph like this. If I was to put this here, I mean, it sounds crazy, but could you possibly just completely stop it from spawning in total by just having something on top of it and still spawn the other thing? Nope, you have a collision, which that seems more than fair that that would be the case. Does this potentially build up enough room for you? Do we have enough free space on both sides? This one shouldn't have any problems. There almost certainly is more efficient ways for this to happen though. Yeah. Is there a way? Hit this one and this one. It's just gonna desperately get in the way of things regardless. Alright, well, let's just not even use it. Let's see. Instead, we can just grab it with 4 and then rotate and then let go. Or see if it tries to grab 2 things and gets in the way. Seems like it probably doesn't matter. You almost have the room, but you still have the green colliding with this. And if I have to change this so it's something closer to that, oh, it becomes such a nightmare. And really, at a certain point, don't you just want to, like, say, let's skip this, let's just move to the next solution? But the game won't let you. You are trapped in this scenario until it decides, until you find a solution. Any solution, doesn't even matter how good or bad it is. But you've got to find some solution. And I just cannot change all the code to adjust and account for shifting it upward like that. Which honestly, I don't know if that really benefits you too much anyways, because as long as that's still there, what I would be doing is that. Yeah. It doesn't really work. And I can't move it anywhere else. It's just not worth the effort. It's not worth even trying. Okay. So, put this back here. put these back here. I just moved that. We can't extend the arms on this device either. Maybe you could do this. That's not really going to help you either. Is there really any efficiency in putting something here? I mean, you're kind of already wasting a lot of space. Anyways. Yeah, this is just getting worse and worse with every little change. Every bit of code. It seems so logical that your solution would be something along the lines of this spot being here. Which would mean this spot has to be here. Which really I just cannot justify changing anything. This actually does save space, though. And area may be the only thing that we can save on. So let's go with extend, then retract, then pivot, and just see if that maybe works for us. That's the only thing I can even think of. My brain, once again, getting kind of turned into mush. Right, so it's at this point that it pivots. So extend, then pivot. Maybe that's all we needed the whole time. Does seem like we probably need 2 pivots, but fingers crossed. That may be all we need, at least for the next step. And then if we can get into a good pattern, I think we can swing between the like 180 spot here. Yeah, we'll extend first, then pivot twice. Like if we're just using this half of the screen as our placemat. I mean, is it even rotating that the right direction? I don't think it is. So I could be having trouble here that the actual solution to this puzzle wouldn't even run into, and just making my own problems by having the code. Okay. See, so that pivoted the other way versus what I wanted, but by doing it that way, it highlights the next problem, certainly. I think we have to go back and forth. I don't think you get a choice. So pivot plus rotate minus then reset. Actually, I think probably at that point probably would also need another pivot in the other direction. Might be putting that in the wrong place, that code. Yep. And we definitely have run into a situation where the code is too precious and I'm not willing to let it go. When probably would have made more sense to let it go. We may have to sing a little bit of Frozen here. What if we were here instead as our starting position? And what if this was here instead? Wouldn't that then potentially free up a lot of room? Yes, but slight danger is going to happen at some point here. This is going to stop working once we start trying to get the vim and vigor. Okay. So at I think this point we probably want another extend. And it's just such a nightmare. Just bounce everything forward, bounce everything forward. Okay. So now this part would be grab, then retract, then rotate, and that should be pretty much the exact same code. Otherwise, well, maybe we need to extend twice here. That might be the case. That should just leave this second bit of code somewhat questionable. Yeah, if anything, this puzzle is trying to teach me the idea of or the concept of let's not do that. It's trying to teach me the concept of just having the arms longer, which I have noticed that particularly when we start to get to these bigger solutions and products, that you do have to start with your arms extended either to 2 or 3 steps. Let's see. Let's do do that instead and rotate the other direction. I feel like this is going to crash into something regardless. And we may have to change the code when it grabs these items. We may have to change the code anyways so that it grabs one, then rotates back this way, and then puts it down there. And potentially solving this without using the disposal item feels like something that deserves a reward to it, but like an achievement. But yeah, we really don't have any achievements except for playing Sigmar's Garden, which I see no reason why I'd want to play that 100 times to try and get achievements on it. It seems like we won't even unlock the other Sigmar's Garden possibility until you've played the original Sigmar's Garden at least a while. Maybe if I got 25 wins, then it would unlock the other Sigmar's Garden, but I don't think it's worth it at that point. I don't think it was ever worth it. Okay. Not too bad. You can see we have the beginnings of what we need. At that spot, though, I don't know if I wouldn't want to try and rotate it the other way. And this whole thing is just gonna fall apart. Like, we're gonna have to see this through, but I think we're dangerously close to me just ending an episode and playing off screen to find the actual solution here, because this is gonna get ridiculous. Just struggle after struggle after struggle to get it to not crash. One, 2, 3 rotations, then an extension, and then a pivot, and then a reset. I'm not even 100% sure if I can get the final product to land here when all is said and done. It's gonna matter severely based on just like it's gonna matter severely on a question of just, can you manipulate it, and what piece are you going to end up on? Like, theoretically, I'd be holding it on by this piece, so I need to potentially just rotate the whole thing to get it to fit. And arguably, in retrospect, I may have been better off putting a glyph of bonding over on this side just for even more room. Don't understand what happened there. Like, what occurred that we ended up with the final piece here when we need it there. Yeah, here you pick up, rotate. Pivot here. Extend. Let's try that again. Apparently I need 2 extensions. Okay. That gets it. Good. Let's step through the code now. And that would have worked had we simply, I think, just repeated this. Wow, that's not gonna work. We need number 4 to repeat. Just put one here. And just put one there and see if that's enough. There's one sound effect in this game that sounds kind of like a dog barking. And every time I hear it, I have this weird feeling that there's a dog barking outside. We did repeat one too often. Probably means we don't need that one. And if we had just one arm doing this code, we could repeat that, but we don't. But also, certainly the extra effort of putting everything on this one arm gets thrown out the window when more logically you could have what this is doing being done by this arm too, which would push all the code and be crazy. And frankly, you could do what this is doing also. There's probably more than enough places where you could pick up an excess item and drop it and save 30 gold, since you only have to do it 6 times. But is that really robust code that you could run over and over again if you wrote a solution like that? No. It would just work the 6 times and then you'd run out of areas that you could drop that extra piece. Same is true for this, but this is slightly more efficient as far as the code is concerned, and it's much easier to think of it through using that process, where I'd have to write solely separate and discrete code. And at a certain point I should just get to using the steps again. And it didn't work because I needed, when this one repeated, the other one needed to repeat, so I need to always repeat these 2 pieces of code. The game, frankly, just needs to slow down when you approach the end of the code for the first run. That's not something that you would just immediately realize or think about, but yeah. Since the game does speed up for when showing solutions, which it absolutely needs to do, the next quality of life thing to happen is like whatever code happens before the reset needs to move at a very slow step, start paying attention type point. This is another extend we need to do. But I have hit a point now where I kind of don't even think, if say the game creators were making this, were watching my footage, I don't even know if there's enough here that we did need another repeat. I don't know if there's enough here to fix this game, because I think the fundamental concept is flawed. So you could put all the quality of life improvements you want in it, and maybe that would help you with your next game if you've already solved those problems, but at its core, what this game is offering has problems. Oh, and I've just realized, stupidly, that my solution won't work. It would work if I only needed to get rid of 6 things, but I don't. I need to get rid of a lot more than 6 things. I need to get rid of 6 things times 6. 36 items. Why do I keep making the same mistake over and over in the code? I guess it's because I'm just copying my previous code and just repeating the same errors. Alright. Squeeze this in. Well, I suppose there's safety in assuming that C3, when it lets go, would be the point that you would grab, and then you would rotate, then you would reset. Then that means you can just, for safety's sake, put these at the end of each of these commands. So yeah, there is no solution that does not involve the use of the disintegrator. Okay. May have been something that went wrong there. I'm not sure what. This one seems like it doesn't need to happen. So go ahead and get rid of that one. Make sure that's the case. It feels a little late to the party, but not super late. What's weird, though, is something seems off in the timing, because we're ending the point where we crash with one of these bigger items, whichever. It's missing one at some point there. That's where it's missing one. Which maybe we just need to line up all the code like that. That would be, for readability, the best solution. And just hope that works. Okay. And here's where it fails. Again. Look at the position that this is in. It's going to be practically impossible to get this to pivot into the right position to make a match. We might be able to do it if we just pivot everything completely in a different angle. But I might really have to question that. Let's, though, as we're now 2 hours into this single puzzle, just move along with the code and see how much we can accomplish. Like, really, there shouldn't be any real problem here. You just put a repeat here and a repeat here, and then simply copy all the code you have before. And yeah, there's not a lot to say as we're watching this go one more time. Alright, there's your crash. So we would need to figure out a way to get this whole component to be connected in a different way, and I don't think there is a way. This is stupid. I mean, it's really dumb. Let's do this thought. let's build the code to build this component first, and we'll basically drag this one off. Start here. Like that. Build the ring first, which would allow for a lot more repetition. And then deal with the secondary code later. So I think pretty much that's like this on number 5, which I guess I can't move this, nor do I really want to move that at the moment. Let's see if 5 works. What is 5 doing? It's doing the wrong code. That's what it's doing. Must be this code. Yeah. That's the code we wanted. So my initial thought, from the looks of it, seems to really indicate that we need to move this code back. Yeah, my initial thought seems to really indicate that there was more intelligence in putting the different code first, when it seems like because of the severe limitations of these macros and the repetitions, I actually should have done the other code first. All right. And if we're gonna do this code, we might as well just do it right. And so let's go ahead and minus here. Or, you know what, we'll just put the code at the front here. Grab minus, I guess is fine. And then rotate. I guess that's fine. And then reset. And then drag this. Drag that. Okay. Repeat for a ridiculously long amount of code. Repeat for a ridiculous amount of code. Let's see how that goes. This one needs to be on the track, just as a temporary solution to the fact that I don't want to get rid of the code. There. Oh, yep, forgot about that. So if you were going to do that properly also, then you would drop here. You would ooh, how do we want to get rid of this stuff? Space-wise, that'd probably be the smartest way. Switch this around so the one you don't want is here. And that means you can swing here and swing here. And we're getting rid of this one, and this one at this point. I think you very much may just want to put the entire ring here on this square to save space also. Okay. I'm gonna not try to go crazy trying to save space here. So anyways, this one lets go of that and then rotates and picks up this one, and then at that point it should rotate and it should extend 1, 2 and reset. Okay, and so then should be back at the reset point, so then it can just rotate 1 and pick up the final product. Let's just bump all these, rotate, grab, and then if it were to rotate again, it's kind of not where we want to go. Here, here, and here. And here it's not even, I think, as efficient as retracting 1, 2, push. Yeah, let's just rotate. Okay, so reset, grab, rotate 1 here, 2 here, 3 here, and then 1 push, possibly pivot, reset. Bump a reset. Bump a reset. Jeez. There's so much extra code. See if that works. Okay. The reset here is wrong. There's no reason to reset. You should just let go and then rotate 1 and grab, and then follow the rest of the instructions. See if that works. And that should be more efficient. Although Efficiency at this point is an incredibly relative term. It's not just rotate, though, it's also retract. Go retract, rotate twice. One more rotation needed here. And certainly some of this is just me not even wanting to spend the brain power to think about what in the world happened there. Like, I really should just commit that extra brain power to think about potentially moving things around a little bit better. Like, arguably this could be better off if it was here. Okay. We're getting it. And that is just a ridiculous amount of repeats, but that ridiculous amount of repeats gives you some stability and doesn't make you rewrite the code every time. And if you make some change in the first line of code, it then gets repeated. You're getting as close to a function here, or a loop, as is possible. Problem is, you still are really running. Right. You still are running into like a very ridiculous scenario where you're spending a lot of effort and a lot of time. A real function wouldn't take up the whole line. You would just have something that says like F1 for like function 1 here, and it would take up one box. But then I guess that also introduces the danger of like parallel processing, which clearly this game did not want to touch the idea of parallel processing happening. In a funny way, a compiler, a real programming compiler, would just not show your code in its final iteration like this, or in any way really. You have to see the code as it's written, using functions, which keeps everything simplified, but does not show what even the first loop of the main function would look like. Okay. So at this point, it is trying to reset. And so to keep sanity, you would want to just, after the reset, rotate, grab, extend, and pivot, and then let's reset again. And then at that point, let's go ahead and just grab, and then rotate, and then extend and reset again. And let's see if that works. That should let us build the beginnings of pushing it just deeper and deeper down this direction. Sure would be nice if you could just jump to a certain point in the code, jump to the later steps. Alright, so you've got it built. We're using up a lot of space here. We've pushed this downward, and we've now pivoted it into the right place. You make that, and one way or the other now. So we need to pivot it one way to potentially give us a green, or pivot another way to potentially give us a red. I think maybe you go with the red first. Yeah, red, then that would probably be better. So might as well just turn this whole thing upside down, because that's what we're building at this point, is an upside down version of this. And I wouldn't be surprised if this is where we're really going with the solution too, is something like that. Again, that's just taking up so much room on screen. Okay. So push, pivot this way, and then we will have it pick up another one, and then extend, and I can't really swing at that point, which arguably means all of these should be closer. Yeah, seems almost insanely logical that this should probably be here and this should probably be here, but we do something else instead because I don't want to hassle with that. Yeah, let's just push, and then let's just rotate the opposite direction. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Extend and reset. Hope that works. And then we'll just pick one up and then rotate, extend. And reset. Oh, you might as well just hit play. One is going to move all over the place, so we're going to end up putting the wrong color on it, but it doesn't quite matter about that right now. Okay. Pick up, extend, rotate, apparently crashes. And we may now not really have the problem we were having before. So we've kind of changed everything. But we have to now spend another 2-minute setup. To test that out. You're not really using this area, so there is probably an argument that this section could have been over here and you could save a lot of space that way. Well, you reset and ran into a problem, but that's not too big of a deal. We also need to pivot one, I think this way. There. I think that's where the pivot goes. We also basically need to scroll all the way back. You know what? It's just easier to get rid of this and bring it back. That way the code is reset. I'm trying to put one at the top because there's not that much code it's going to do, and the likelihood of it being wrong later on is fairly low. We're now 2 hours and 17 minutes into this puzzle, and we really aren't even that close to being done. Okay. We didn't spin far enough. We need another spin. It is otherwise probably right. But every little mistake just becomes that nightmare scenario. Is there something we could do here that would save money more? I don't think so. I think you need that one track. And I think we've barely figured out that we'll have to retract after we see, pick it up and then extend and then rotate a couple times. I mean, really, you could rotate once and then you could retract. Yeah. You really can't get rid of this without doing an insane level of code. And I don't know if you could really do the math there, because can this actually hit 36 places extra? Or can this even hit 36 places in general? Alright. The pivot is wrong. in the wrong direction. But otherwise, the code is good there. We also, once we have this in the spot, we shouldn't just reset, we should go negative and see where that leaves us. Yep, the last bit of this code would be to get the greens. Well, the last bit of this code would be to get it to the final position. Darn it, I didn't see. Okay, well, if it rotates it, pushes it, and puts it here, then actually I don't even think it needs to extend. I think it should just rotate it and then put it here. Which would be then this, and that would be there. So then if I were to say, let go from this position, go back to this position, extend to this position here, grab this position and pivot. Then reset. That should set you up now. So then number one should rotate. We'll just stick it there. Grab, extend. Again, for laziness sake, we'll rotate and then retract, then go 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then I think at that point you just let go. You extend again, you grab, and then I think you go 1, not rotations, but pivots, 2, 3 pivots. Hopefully that's right. And then you reset. Let's see if that works. Up until that point, that should theoretically put us right towards the point in which we're about to place this final earth element. And then once we do place the final earth element, it'll just be a question of where's this final answer gonna need to be. 91 areas being used already. Okay. But one too many pivots, one too many swings there. You start off with 44. You quickly jump up to 40 to 55. Then you jump up to like 64. Like, then 74. You really would have to go over this problem with a fine-tooth comb. There's no way to describe it other than saying that this is hard, this puzzle. To kind of a negative level. That was not right. Either I only needed one rotation in that direction, and then I suppose assassinating somebody is hard, and so if this is supposed to feel like this is as difficult as killing somebody or assassinating somebody, there might be some parallel there, but I don't know. I really do kind of feel like that we've just hit a fairly large difficulty spike in what has been not so spiky difficulty as much as just straight up a mountain slope in which we are like continuously struggling with. Okay. Why are we a step behind what I thought we were? That seems weird, but whatever. We can work with that. Just go minus and reset. And then I will basically be doing the exact same code a second time. Extend, rotate, retract. This may not work actually. In fact, it might indicate that we have to build the green before we build the red, because the green's on the left side. Yep, that could be a nightmare if we have to rewrite all the code. Extend. Right. Yeah, you let go, then you extend, then you grab. And in this case, I don't think you're going to, well, you are going to pivot, aren't you? Should just be able to pivot twice and see if that crashes anything. Yeah, I often am not in line with the players that only play a game for 2 hours and give up. I'm much more obsessive than that, obviously. But we are approaching past a point where I think it would be fairly reasonable for players to have just given up on this game and said, yeah, it's not worth the effort. Okay. I think we will clear it. Just need that extension. Like at this point in my subconscious, I'm just like begging this game to just give me a lucky victory. Just say I did it, cheat for me, lie to me, tell me I accomplished it, even if I didn't. Clearly, a process like this needed to be broken up into smaller steps that we could have done in smaller smaller challenges. Is extend not working because it's already extended, or do I just need to extend twice? There does seem like there's a point here where this swings to the left here, and then it swings to the right, and it feels like for space savings you would probably want to shift it so that it just always swings in that general direction. Yeah, it seems like I could have just built the whole... And it's just not working. And changing this extension's not doing anything. So that's not the right bit of code. I see what I'm doing. I shouldn't extend, I should just... Well, I guess I have to extend to get the pivot right. Extend, grab, pivot, minus at this point. Let go. Retract. Grab. Extend, reset. Let's see if that works. I don't know if there's another place though as far as area where you could save space. Like I would have to rewrite all this code in sense that the pivot would go the other way, which would not be actually that hard. And then at this final step, when you pushed it forward, you'd have to rotate it a different direction. Okay. That too did not work. So it's not just that you need to let it go. You need to go back to the plus after the retraction, then grab it. Alright. Let it go. Plus, retract, grab, extend, reset. But I can't even care enough. I just can't care enough about optimizing this code. The second I find a solution for this code, I am done. And will be more than happy to just take whatever score they give me and move on with my life. I mean, I'm at a point here where I really don't even want to see... I really don't want to see a 6th chapter of this game. I would like this to potentially be the end of the game, because it's been bad, frankly, this whole time, and giving me another chapter that's more difficult isn't gonna fix it. Even if they gave me functions, even if they gave me the thing I would want more than anything, it would be too little too late. And there's zero belief or faith that you'd be able to go back and do the vast majority of the game using functions, even if they did hand it to you. Alright. Probably would be a more efficient way. What do we do now? I think we could probably still pull this off. We just need to retract another time, which, yeah, we are just bodging the solution. Yeah, and if you were going to try for optimization here, you'd almost certainly have maybe even two people, two groups of projects working on building half of the ring, while the other two, while you have one building one group of three versus another building another group of three. Okay. What happened there? What did it crash into? We didn't... I don't think we extended enough. Nope, we didn't. Yeah, you could have something just building these three, something just building these three, and then something building just these three and these three. And that would probably be your most efficient. And then you're gonna take those like conveyor belt sub-assemblies and then assemble them all further. One of the problems with this, as far as just like a general quality of life issue, is that you don't jump the button to the step button. Like, it's very logical in my mind that as soon as you hit play, it should jump the button to the step button, or clicking anywhere should step it forward, and then right clicking should bring up a menu to stop it. That would be very logical also. Okay. Let go, then plus, retract, then grab, then extend, and then here retract, and here extend, and extend. I think that's it. But yeah, the second I hit play, I take my hand off the mouse to let my fingers rest a little bit, and then you have this point where you want to step and slow down the process to make sure you're paying attention and you can see it. And the mouse is usually way over here. Okay. We needed to do that first, and that first. well, no. That first, and then that. I think. Boy, is this irritating. Particularly when you have a case when your code is not beautiful, when it is just ugly bodged code, it's ridiculously long code. At least on the cost solutions, this is definitely in line with what you would have to do, and it is just total insanity. There's no other way to point at it. Okay, so we've got the pivots in the wrong directions. Otherwise, I think we are very, very close now. I would much prefer to play a game where it gives me very academic, just like school educational puzzles that could be solved obviously and perfectly. In the real world, of course, code is very rarely perfect, and the solution you need is very rarely going to be a perfect solution. But regardless of that, there's still... I'm gonna just see if this works. Out of laziness, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of these. And then extensions. And then reset would be what you would want to do. That won't work, because even if this does let us finish the full build, extending it to this point would still have this orb over here. It's gonna have to be a rotate of some sort, and almost certainly it's gonna be a rotate back in that general direction to the right. There you go. Another collision. We may be able to avoid that being really an issue though. So yeah, let's just go ahead and, instead of extend, just rotate back out and reset. I wouldn't be surprised if this collides once we start to make these orbs. And if it does collide, yep. I don't know how to solve this. I don't know how you're going to rotate that final part so it doesn't collide with this. Yeah, and I honestly don't know if there's any way to save any real room here at all. I think I've got to rewrite the code completely. One way or another, I think that's where this is really going to end up going. Is there any solution I can do that would let me build the green potentially and then connect the green later. Maybe. Let's see. The problem, of course, here is that something is just going to be constantly in the way. So, yeah. At this level, if I was to push this forward here and just try and build the rest of the green, I could do it, but then when I would pivot, I'd have to do it extremely carefully. I could do it. See. Extend. I just hope this is right. I'm not going to make a huge mess of this. Okay, extend, reset. Now, all of this code I think is still right. And if I'm gonna do this way, I very possibly am actually gonna save myself some area, which would probably be the code to save some area. Okay. We need to retract, but that's still doable. So just retract twice, rotate, 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 not drop this case, instead extend to here, and I think probably extend to here. And then I'm gonna go all out on a limb here and just turn that into a reset. It's important to point out in a game like this, as it's been going, that there haven't been any pop-up tooltips or suggestions or hints or anything in the narrative or the storyline to say, hey, here's a way to do this more efficiently. So if there was a case that somebody was screaming at me as they were watching this video and telling me, oh, there's something just incredibly simplistic that I'm missing, which I seriously doubt something like that actually exists, it kind of doesn't matter. Like, it really, really does not matter. Okay. Because the game itself is the one that's failing to tell me and guide me if there was some solution. And my experience here, I am almost 100% certain, it's not just a case of me being like an idiot and missing something extremely obvious. Right, so this last bit of code now should be extend, rotate, retract, retract. And then we're gonna get weird, certainly. It's not gonna just be that. It's going to probably be that. And then probably an extension and to connect, followed by a direct retraction, which would bring all three of them that way, followed by a pivot in that direction, which would then be, I think, this one, and then this one, which I don't think is enough of a pivot. So I'm going to think it's 2 pivots, and then I'm going to have it move to the negative, not the positive, and reset and see if that puts this section in the right place. I've been sitting here too long. We're approaching 3 hours now. This is definitely not working towards the idea of like a laid back recording. Like, the concept of being laid back is definitely not benefiting me at this point. Okay. We can't pivot in that position. We might be able to pivot if we extended one. That is at the pivot that it's crashing. Well, maybe we don't retract until we pivot once. Just gonna experiment with this. And once again, this is incredibly bad code, incredibly inefficient design just to save gold and to try and keep everything linear from a mental perspective of linear programming instead of parallel programming or functional programming. Yeah. I think right now if I was to just go plus, that go 9 minus there, I may not even need a pivot. May not need a pivot at all because I may be able to just, like, could this reach this? No. No. Yeah, I'm not sure how we connect this. Yeah, I'm hoping I can just chisel away at the problems I keep running into until I finally have a solution. But I am really just banging my head against the wall. Okay, we've got that there. So we need to be able to grab this one, which I don't think we can do. Can we pivot it? Can we grab this one and pivot this into place? I think maybe we could. So instead of maybe going minus, yeah, I honestly feel like we're gonna have to just have more things out of the way. Like if I could reach this and then rotate it, pivot it one this way, and then retract it, which of course I could retract it, I'd have the final product. And maybe in doing that, this wouldn't collide with this, but maybe it would. I'm not sure. Honestly, at this point, I would just put another connector somewhere if I could think of a solution. If I could think at all after all of this. Okay. That puts it like kind of in an exactly opposite direction, which I don't know if that really helps anything. Oh, man. I think we're gonna have to part ways here. I think I'm just gonna have to play this off screen. Like, this is getting ridiculous. And I think that there is very possibly a positioning issue here. That is going to make this have to be rewritten all over again. Because, yeah, you are here. You could pivot something, you can move it, you could grab the middle piece. But then if it was pivoted and you push the middle piece, it would just collide into that. We need... we need the... we need this part to not be just dropped. Which I don't know where that part... happens, I'd say it's probably here. Pick up, rotate, minus, extend. I think we pivot there. And that may be the wrong direction to pivot, but I think we have to redraw the paradigm there. Which means all of the last 3 sections of code will be wrong. But that may not matter too much. We may be able to adjust that. I think if this takes another 40 minutes, we will definitely have to give up at that point. I don't think there's... Okay. See, that part there is where it fails. He pushes here. We need it to be here. In fact, we may just need to move the whole thing up and in this direction a couple times. Okay. So instead of extend and pivot, we are going to go for a minus and then a release, which should have it here, here, and here, and then a plus and extend a grab and a pivot. Let's see if that works. At least gets us somewhere. It may actually get us somewhere, but we may still need to try and figure out something that we can grab onto to push it further back. Okay. So there we've got it. If this can spin this direction, we've got it. If it can't spin that direction, then we don't have it. And we're just out of luck at the point. We've just screwed up terribly. We need to probably build the greens first, and if we had built the greens first, we would have better code to build the sodium and fires. Alright, well. We'll see if we can pivot this way. That's what we need to know. This code is pretty impossible to read as it's actually happening also. Nope, it crashes. Okay. So the part of the code that's a problem starts where? I think it starts here. So, yeah. Draw a box, I guess. And then, actually, we should just throw another one in here. And it really should be an extendable one. And this code is actually probably pretty bad as far as what it is. And yeah, even if I can draw a box around it, it's such long code that becomes kind of ridiculous. So I'm thinking we built this, we pivoted to that. So I should be able to now pick up one, extend, and then rotate, and then retract. Retract. Probably don't need the 2 retracts. Rotate a bunch, extend, extend. Let's see if that works. Honestly, I suspect this will still collide and that there's just no way to stop it from colliding. Yeah, that didn't work anyways. I'm thinking maybe you don't even connect this until way later. And instead of rotating and then grabbing and then extending and pivoting, you rotate, grab, and then just straight up put it on put out of the way somewhere. And then that would mean that probably still do need to build off the salt block. I mean, I could almost see the argument of letting this code run. And we'll just keep several different sections. Every time you make such big changes like this, your first instinct is going to be to just want to get things back to running code so that you can debug it more. There definitely were times when I was learning programming where you would spend like hours, entire like classroom days, just trying to debug your code to get it back to working, even knowing that what you're doing isn't even going to get at all of the bugs. You just don't know, can't even see the other bugs until you get the code back to running. Which that is definitely an argument for a versioning software system. We almost have a full solution there. Like if there was a true versioning software versioning system here, which is asking a lot and obviously asking way too much for this game, but if such a thing actually did exist, then you could at the very least have the last instance of good running code and some bit of a changelog. It wouldn't be crazy to have each one of these instances snapshotted and just running like something like diff to show the differences, a visual version of something like diff to show the different versions of the code each time it's run, or last good instance versus the current one. Now, if this crashes into this one, that doesn't really matter. You know what? Just don't pivot it, I think, and we may have the solution there. Although, at a certain point, if I don't pivot it, that's a problem. That may very well be a problem for another day. I'd have to also say, I think this whole Vim and Vigor concept is not being used and isn't really adding much to the game. Just the general idea. Okay, instead of not pivoting it, how about we pivot it twice and then unpivot it once when we pick it up later. The concept of getting two elements could have definitely been something, but when you have barely 3 or 4 puzzles involving that, it doesn't really matter. Now, if this one crashes into the arm, that'd be my only... I can just delete this arm, which I should have done a while ago. Okay. We can work around that. Just retract one here, and then undo the retraction here. This is just ridiculously slow. And even if I was going to try and play Sigmar's Garden, I mean, that doesn't really help at all. Right. As long as this does not crash into something, we should be able to build this. Okay. So now it is just a matter of yanking this back and then maybe pivoting it and then rotating it. Can we get it into position if we do that? And then yanking this forward, because yeah, there's a couple different ways we could do this. We could either grab it here and go forward, which I guess we can do. So yank it back, go -1, extend 2, go plus, and then yank it back one more time. That doesn't feel very efficient, but whatever. Okay. Minus. Retract. Let go. Is minus really the right move there? Extend. No. Extend, retract. Let go. Then go minus. Then extend. Extend, I think. Grab. Plus. I mean, retract. Then plus. Then let go. And let's just hope that that's right. No, let's get rid of this first of all. Just, we've had that around for far too long. All I want to do is see the final location of the second half of this. Then we're going to have to build the code to connect the two. And then we're going to have to build the code to deposit the final combined form. So we still aren't really that close. And this does potentially... Right, that is right. So, at this point, you would want to let go. You would want to go to minus. You would want to extend, I think. Go to plus and rotate. Let's see. Let go. Go to minus. Rotate. I think that's right. The grab there. And then extend, and then unrotate, and then plus. I'm hoping that you can extend again at that point and reset. I think with a little bit of luck, that should be able to just drop everything into its final place, which, you know, there's a decent chance it's going to collide into this. I think we could easily get rid of this. Our only hope is it won't collide, or we'll see something else that's wrong. So we'll at least learn something from this cycle. Okay, we did see something else wrong, but I think we can solve for that. Let's see. Retract. Throwing another retract in here. And so then when this rotates and gets into place, at that point I think we're gonna have to let go, and then you're gonna have to retract twice. Grab and extend probably twice. See if that fixes it. And there's not even a good way to pan this screen to show everything. Best case scenario is something like this. This code is terrible. This layout is terrible. And the worse you do in a game like this, the more you have to live with your failure instead of just moving on to something else. It's not gonna work. It's not going to work. See if this one is here, this one is here, and this one's there, that one's there. Yeah. If I were to pivot this whole thing, so that and is there a way to do that and really make that work? I'd have to nope, it's not gonna work. Like I said, 40 minutes, it's been 3 hours and 25 minutes. There's no way to skip this. No way at all. I am I would say probably 94% there, if not more. But unless I could get a ring to somehow connect here, which it wouldn't, there's not enough room. I don't have a way of placing this there. Like, that should work visually, but maybe it's a pivot thing. Yeah, it's a pivot thing. So ridiculous amount of code. Yeah, you get back to this point. When it hits there, I guess maybe that's it. Is you would grab this, you would have to take it here, and then you would have to pivot there. That's doable. Okay. So, let's see. I think that's here. You let go, you go minus, you rotate, you grab, you then extend. You should be holding the one grab, extend. Oh, darn it, I'm gonna have to hit play just to see what's going on here. I think you grab, you grab it, you extend it, you don't rotate it. Instead, you plus it. Then you rotate it, but maybe there's a pivot there, maybe there isn't. And of course, that is only going to work if you start in the right place. It may be that you need to grab and extend it further. Maybe when this comes over this way. Yeah. We've got it. As much of a nightmare as it's been, we do have it now. At least to a certain extent we have it. Let go. So you're here. Ideally you want to come back to this point. So -1 should take you from here to here. And then retract 1. Maybe even retract 2, grab, extend. Maybe that will extend too much, but we'll see. Unfortunately, once again, you're just having to hit play and hope. Just hope that you aren't one bit of code off of the answer. And I would frankly throw my mouse at my screen. And I'm not a type of person who throws controllers at all. I never do that. That's ridiculous. But if somehow they told me that the 130 gold I'm using here is not the least amount of gold, I would have to rage quit. There's just no solution that makes any sense there. Okay. One more retraction was right, then grab, then extend. I shouldn't have second guessed myself. Because there's just nothing extra going on here. Nothing that you don't need. The only thing I could think is that there would potentially, I guess, maybe be some kind of crazy way you could spin around with just one controller, one arm. But I don't really believe that, because this necessitates the need to be able to move in a couple places. There we go. I am very glad to get the solution on screen, but it's an ugly, ugly solution, to say the least. And the amount of area we're using is 82, and A, I would be disappointed if it turned out 82 was the smallest amount of area you could use, and B, I'd be disappointed if the amount of area is something insanely small, like 32. Ooh. We have a slight issue in that we need to reset things, which is probably, for number one, best accomplished, I'm thinking, with just 4 turns. We start on red. We need to end on red. So if we don't end on red by the time this repeats, actually 4 turns is stupid. I really should just turn the other way. Once, I think, is all you need to do. Yeah. Because it's going to rotate to the green. And then it's never going to rotate again. So I literally just needed 1 rotate. So we'll just put a reset there. That way we know it knows to go back to where it started. Which it clearly does the reset by just rotating back 1. Not rotating 4 times, which was the wrong number. And none of these individual components are really synergizing that much. Like, everything is kind of a very separate mechanism that makes 4 very separate goals that then have to be combined with the combiner. So you're not getting synergy, as I would describe it, in these puzzles. You're instead just getting complexity, having to do very separate actions. And I'm not even gonna dare to try and show an efficient way to do this. Like, I think the solution is probably to have a crazy mechanism to make this one part, then this part, and 2 mechanisms to make this part. Arguably, you only have 4 cardinal directions, and while this is a hex grid, there really is only still north, south, east, west as it is. So 4 mechanisms very possibly is the maximum amount of mechanisms. Take note also, this is not speeding up, so there is something at the level of 300 cycles where it's not even doing a look ahead to say, oh, this is working, so we should speed up the process and let you get your solution then. So we now have to painstakingly just watch it move at its normal pace to build the 3 remaining buildings. And what would be really irritating is if we hit like 2,000 cycles and it just says too many cycles reached, and didn't let this solution be the solution. I would have to tear my hair out to try and optimize this code. It probably would be worth it just to sleep on the puzzle and then come back another day and try and start writing code from scratch again. I suppose area-wise, since this is 2 hexagonal grids, there probably is an argument to have it like sideways. Yeah, you could definitely have it that way and probably save a little bit of area. But again, I don't think I'm gonna dare to even try and show that. There we go. So, as far as cost, there is some slim line here that makes no sense at all. That's being marked. The amount of area is actually surprisingly small compared to everybody else, which, yeah, and then the number of cycles is just through the roof. Yep. What in the world saves you money here? Like, the thing here is this can't reach this. And I don't believe there is any scenario you can do where a single thing can be reached in each way. Just doesn't seem like that's the case. And if I was to put 2 extendable arms, then let's see, which ones were we using this? Yeah, that's back in the right place. I don't want to mess things up here. Not like I'm coming back to this puzzle ever again. Yeah, if you were to put 2 $40 piston arms for 40 gold, that wouldn't save you any money. You can't do anything without the Glyph of Duplication. You can't do anything with the Van Berlos. You can't do anything without the Glyph of Bonding. I just think the game lies, frankly. I think we have pretty much shown that the game lies. The Glyph of Destruction is 0 gold anyways. Is there any way you could build this without a piston arm? I don't buy it. Definitely don't buy it. Like you would definitely have to do some kind of level of insanity. If you had one that went up and down, but wasn't a piston arm, maybe at that point you could write some code where it was here and then this was here, and then every time something went down, no, I mean, you would have to put this on the other side, and then it would have to grab one and then push it. Like, I don't even believe there really are people out there who weren't being paid as QA testers who would have ever bothered to try to get a solution at that cost. I really don't believe there's enough fans of Opus Magnum to have actually gotten scores this low. But I guess maybe. Anyways, let's just finish the story and be done with it. Hope Clara will survive. It so happens that I quite like her. She'll get the non-lethal dose as king as long as she doesn't lick her lips. So the curious lipstick is poisoned. I mean, afterwards, surely that would not eliminate all of the suspicions. It may depend upon how well she can act the part of the innocent, oblivious house heir. Luckily, it seems she's quite practiced at that. It's unfortunate that circumstance compels her to hide her intelligence that way, especially when she's in fact the smartest person I've ever met. Wait, really? More than me? Okay, so we're not even... I was hoping and thinking that this puzzle was going to unlock just some storyline stuff, and we would just get 2 of these and then we would be done. And honestly, I was kind of hoping that this would end the game and this would just be some weird credits thing or a very easy puzzle. But I guess we will be starting next episode doing Universal Solvent, and hopefully, maybe Curious Lipstick was just a huge difficulty spike, but I don't really believe it. Each of these Chapter 5 puzzles have gotten more and more difficult and more ridiculous as we've gone on. We're very far in the game, so it's going to kind of suck if I do end up rage quitting, but we're at 3 hours and 45 minutes to do one puzzle. It's ridiculously too much. Anyways, that's going to be it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want a friend or follow me on any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.